Right-hand side that says, built a business, killed a football club.
They're a disgrace. They are an absolute disgrace.
And Spurs' lead lasted 5 minutes. They've lost their captain and their best defender as well for the rest of the game.
I've never, ever left the ground before the final whistle.
It's not their football club. It's my football club as a fan. It's a disgrace and it's heartbreaking.
I will tell you now one thing, maybe it can sound very strange. I believe more now after this game than before, because I saw something.
Get rid of him. He's lost 3 games on the bounce. We are the only team in the Premier League ever to bring in a new manager, to get a new manager bounce, and we get a world's bounce.
Spurs 1, Crystal Palace 3. Ismaila Sarr has his second, and this was so simple.
I really hope they go down this year, and it hurts me to say that.
1 point outside the relegation zone without a win this calendar year.
It is getting very dicey indeed for Tottenham Hotspur. This is The Social here on talkSPORT2 with me, Ollie Klink, alongside a grinning Arsenal fan, Harry Symeou. It is looking pretty desperate, isn't it, after that 3-1 loss to Palace last night. Their manager, Igor Tudor, believes, though, he saw signs of encouragement last night. Here's what he said to Ian Abrahams after the defeat.
It's not one detail, it's a question of the team. But I will tell you now one thing, maybe it can sound very strange. I believe more now after this game than before, because I saw something. I saw something in the team. As I said before, a lot of promise, I don't want to repeat anymore. A lot of promise today without defenders. We need to play with Sosa, with Dech, who never play. So 3-4 players on the bench. So we already spoke about this. So players give everything. I don't have nothing to tell. The moment is what is it, but it will change. It will change.
Igor, I'm confused. You say that everything needs fixing, but you also say from what you saw in the second half, you're confident that Spurs will stay up.
Of course, when you don't win, that means that this is, of course, something is missing. A lot of things are missing, because now I don't need to repeat the things where we are, how result we are. It's nothing, not too much time even to speak. As I said before, now we need to stay quiet, focus, be positive, because I believe it become better times.
Your captain was sent off tonight. There's another Spurs captain sent off this season. First of all, what did you make of it? And secondly, is discipline okay within the camp?
No, discipline is great. It's nothing about discipline. Nothing about discipline. Mistakes happen. Mistake happens today. Big mistake, red card, then change the game.
And can I ask you a blunt question to finish with? Spurs are 1 point above the bottom 3. A lot of fans left tonight early. Some left at half time. They rang our radio station. Some left before the end of the game. Can you stand here seriously and tell them that you will save them? You'll keep them up?
I already said. I believe more after this game than before. Believe me.
There we go, Igor Tudor with talkSPORT's Ian Abrahams there. Let's welcome in Chris Cowlin from the Spurs Chat Pod. Chris, I'm sure today you wanted to chat to me and an Arsenal fan. Appreciate you coming on, mate. Hey, mate.
I knew Harry would be on this one.
He actually called us up and said, please let me come in today.
I don't normally do Fridays. I just asked to do this one.
Oh, Chris, I mean, it's looking desperate, isn't it? Firstly, what do you make of what Igor Tudor had to say there, that he saw signs of encouragement last night?
Yeah, it's quite incredible, really. He's come in to steady the ship and get results, and try and save Spurs in the final 12 Premier League games that he was given. He's managed them for 25% of those now. 3 defeats: defeat against Arsenal, defeat against Fulham, defeat last night, and I don't see any signs that we've improved at all. If anything, being honest, I think that we've actually got worse since he's come in. And as the intro said there, a very depressing intro with lots of people talking about the current situation. A lot of people went home last night at half time, and people had just had enough. And I think that Wednesday night was bad enough, and we didn't even play. I think people realised on Wednesday how bad the situation is. And on Thursday, of course, when Crystal Palace went 3-1 up, just before the half-time break, I think that people, thought that the writing is on the wall, because where is the next point coming from? This is the major issue. Spurs are the only team in the Premier League this calendar year not to have won a game. And when you look at our fixtures, we've got Liverpool away next. I think we've won once there in the last 35 years. You've got the Forest game at home. Then you've got Sunderland, Brighton, Wolves, Villa, Leeds, Chelsea, Everton. what is an easy game now in the Premier League, particularly when a team is really, really struggling? I think that you need to focus on, was this the right appointment? Was this the right move? I genuinely believe that Thomas Frank should have exited the football club a lot sooner than he did. The board clearly wanted it to work under Thomas Frank, but we are in deep mess at the moment, and I don't know how we're going to turn it around, quite honestly.
Chris, on the fans leaving early and all of that stuff, because look, I was watching the game on TV, and I know that there's always a tendency to dramatise the situation, right? They showed a handful of supporters walking out of the stadium at halftime, right? Some of them took a little bit longer maybe to come back to their seats after the halftime break because they were frustrated and probably thought, you know what, I'm not rushing my beer for this. I get that. But do you think that's helpful, or are we really at a point where, as Spurs fans, they're entitled to be showing their frustration in that way? Like, because I'm always of this sort of belief that doesn't help. But at the same time, the situation justifies that now, doesn't it?
Harry, the situation and the atmosphere at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium all season, even under Thomas Frank, it's been horrific, really. It hasn't been, nice. And I'm never, ever going to sit here and tell people how to act. If people want to go to the game, not go to the game. If they want to leave at half time, it's up to them. People vent their frustrations in very different ways. So, I'm not going to tell people how to support the club. But I just think that a lot of people are so frustrated in the way that the club has been run, particularly, and I know we've had this conversation before, you and I, since Spurs moved into the stadium in 2019, we've gone around so many different managers. I think it's 6 permanent appointments, 4 interim appointments. And, Spurs just can't continue in this way. The transfer windows haven't been good enough. The ambition isn't there. Even Gareth Bale come out on Sky the other day and said that Spurs always try and buy that player for the future. They never, ever buy players, ready now. And it is a problem. And year by year, I just think that Spurs have got worse and worse. And, such a decline in the football club. But we're now at a situation where we're all thinking, and this isn't being dramatic, it's being realistic. When you look at the table, 9 games to go, 1 point above the relegation zone. Like I read those fixtures out there, you guys as neutrals, where are Spurs going to get the next point from? Because there is a real lack of fight, real lack of desire. And the also worrying thing, the big worrying thing is when you look at the way that Leeds are fighting, you look at the way that Nottingham Forest are fighting, West Ham, Wolves are going to go down, but look how they're fighting. Yeah. Look how they're getting results.
Yeah, I mean, Chris, I said it just now. Spurs are the worst team in the league when you look at the form at the moment and the lack of confidence at the moment. And you're so right to point out the fact that West Ham are going to Fulham and getting a really crucial win, whereas on Sunday it could have been 5-0 to Fulham. Let's be honest, I was at the game. It is becoming a serious reality. Just on Igor Tudor, because you mentioned there that you're really unsure about this appointment, which I completely understand. I agree with you that it looks as if they've got worse, which I find astonishing, really, because that was a difficult place to get to. Do you see a point in maybe sacking him now and changing the guard again? And I'm not being funny, Chris, maybe getting a Sean Dyche in?
You know what? I think that someone like Harry Redknapp, someone like Tim Sherwood, someone who knows the football club, and I feel like most Spurs fans, including myself, said exactly this when Thomas Frank was sacked. No one had Igor Tudor on the list. And Ollie, you're absolutely right and spot on. At Craven Cottage last weekend, if people didn't see the game and they saw the result 2-1, they might have thought it was close. It wasn't close at all. Fulham should have scored a lot more, and we've conceded 9 goals in the 3 games under Igor Tudor. And as I said earlier, I think that we've got worse under him. And we've only picked up 4 points in the calendar year of 2026. Look at Forest, they've picked up 10. Leeds have picked up 11. Wolves have picked up 13. West Ham, 14. This is a dramatic difference. But when you talk about Igor Tudor as well, he's played a couple of different formations. At Fulham, he played Gallagher out on the wing, completely out of position. A lot of us were scratching our head thinking what's going on there. And then last night, Pedro Porro in the back 3 on the right-hand side. That was quite strange. So you've got to question these things. And, this is a short-term appointment anyway. And I just think that Spurs would be in a better position if we had someone like a Redknapp, a Sherwood. You've even mentioned Sean Dyche. I know people have mentioned Sam Allardyce. There's been lots of names which, You can't really argue, because you need somebody now with experience, but you also need somebody who knows the Premier League, someone who's going to galvanise these players, get the best out of these players, and give them confidence. Because some of the players at the moment, the confidence just looks absolutely shot.
Can I just push back on that a little bit though, Chris? Because I get this whole thing of Igor Tudor's not done it in the Premier League, and that adds a bit of sort of extra risk to the appointment. But this idea that going and getting one of those managers off the Uber Eats advert, like a Sam Allardyce or someone like that, would work better because they know the Premier League. I don't buy it anymore, because the Premier League's not what it was. For someone like Harry Redknapp or Tim Sherwood, they're so out of touch with what Premier League football is today. Harry Redknapp turning up at the training ground and winding down his window and saying, front-footed boys, that's what we want. The Premier League is so different today.
Yeah, I feel like it would be a much better appointment though, Harry, because Igor Tudor has come in. Us fans, we know the problems. You guys in the media, you know the problems. You know that defensively, we're very poor at the moment, in midfield and in attack. He's come in, he's literally slated everything at the football club straight away. He's slated all the players, saying that they're not good enough. You need somebody to come in and get the best out of these players. This is what this interim appointment was. So the way that he's gone about it, I just don't agree with it.
I agree with you, Harry, that I think the names like Harry Redknapp and Tim Sherwood, maybe, we're talking about managers that were in charge of clubs in the Premier League actually a long time ago now.
Especially in Redknapp's case.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
But what about a Deitch, though? And I actually genuinely think that, and I think, Chris, you'll agree with this, that any snobbery around these kind of managers needs to disappear from any Spurs supporter, because they are in this situation. It is this desperate. And they're going to have to act in some sort of way. I mean, how many more games would you give Igor Tudor now, Chris, given that there aren't that many left?
Well, it's a funny one, because, of course, we've got Atletico Madrid in the Champions League on Tuesday, and this competition at the moment is a hindrance to us, because we just need to be out of this competition. I can't believe I'm on talking to you guys saying that we need to be out of the Champions League. Never thought those words would come out of my mouth. But the Premier League games are highly important. So this Liverpool one, we've won once there in the last 35 years. So, that's going to be very, very tough. The Nottingham Forest game at home is huge. Be absolutely massive. So, I don't know. I think that Spurs should make a change now. But from what I'm told and from what I'm hearing, he will be taking training and doing the press conference on Monday ahead of the Atletico Madrid game. So it looks like he's going to still be here.
Oh, Chris, I do feel for you. Harry, maybe less so. But, listen, hope it improves for you, mate. But, looking all a bit desperate.
Harry, you don't want Spurs relegated, though, do you?
Mate, do you know what? I'm not even that bothered. Honestly, I would miss the derby if you weren't in the division. I'll be honest with you.
Miss the 6 points.
But I'd miss the 6 points. But I'd also... There is a part of me that would enjoy it. Of course I would. I'm an Arsenal fan. But the thing that I find frustrating with this whole Spurs debate is and I know you're not doing this, Chris, but whenever I talk to different Spurs fans, and I've grown up and I live in North London, so they're everywhere around me. Everyone's got an opinion of who the one person at fault is here. It's like some people say it's Thomas Frank. Some people will go all the way back to Ange Postecoglou. Some people are on Igor Tudor now. And again, I'm not saying you're doing this, Chris, but it does make me feel like, hold on a minute, why aren't you zooming out and looking at the bigger picture? Because this is a problem that has been there for a while. It's only now that we've got a relegation fight this year that is actually powerful enough to suck people into the vacuum that Tottenham are in trouble. They were in this exact same position last year. It's just that nobody was good enough to make them pay for it.
Harry, can I just add, I completely agree with you. When you look at the bigger picture, the board are the issue. In my opinion, I think it is time to sell and let somebody else take this project over at Tottenham, because this cannot continue in this way. We've gone through so many different managers, world-class managers like Jose Mourinho, Antonio Conte, Pochettino, and wins a trophy, then he gets sacked. We've gone through so many different managers. So this cannot continue. The running of the football club needs to change, or they need to sell.
Chris, thanks very much for your time, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Chris Cowlin there from the Spurs Chat Pod. Oh, looking a bit desperate, isn't it, really? This is the talkSPORT2 Social with William Hill, 18+, gambleaware.org. Next up, we're going to chat about